In America, more than 14,000 elderly people are defrauded over funeral expenses every year, most by family members. I became part of this statistic too, at 74 years old, at my husband's funeral. My daughter Lauren bought a $50,000 casket without my knowledge and forged my signature. But there was one thing she didn't know. I was a retired bank manager and had spent my life detecting forged signatures. My name is Maureen Whitmore. I'm currently 74 years old, and I live in Portland, Oregon. I worked at Pacific Northwest Bank for 47 years. I spent my last 15 years as a manager. The most important part of my job was fraud detection. Forged signatures, stolen checks, identity theft. I was trained to spot these. I would give weekly seminars. No signature is perfect, I would tell employees, but no forged signature can be real either. In November 2019, my husband Richard died of lung cancer. We had been married for 51 years. We had grown up together. I was 23 and he was 25 when we got married. We had 2 children, Lauren and our younger son Michael. Michael now lives in Texas. He's a software engineer. Lauren lives in Portland, just 20 minutes away from us. When Richard died, Lauren was with me every day. "Mom, don't be alone, I'm here," she would say. She came with me to make funeral arrangements. We went to Riverside Funeral Services, Portland's most respected funeral home. The man who greeted us was Brandon Walsh, in his 40s, in a suit, with a professional smile. He took us to his office. "First of all, my condolences, Mrs. Whitmore," he said softly. "We want to provide the most appropriate service for Mr. Whitmore." He placed a catalog on the table. Casket selection was written on the cover. There were dozens of caskets in the catalog. Each had a price tag next to it. The simplest was $6,500, plain pine wood, metal handles, white satin lining. The most expensive, when I turned the page my breath caught, $52,000. Imperial mahogany elite, hand-carved mahogany, 24-karat gold-plated handles, Italian silk lining. This is very expensive," I said. Brandon nodded. "Of course, everyone's budget is different. You can choose the one that suits you best." Lauren looked at the catalog. She stopped at the page of the expensive casket. "Mom, this is magnificent." "Lauren, it's $52,000. That's absurd. But doesn't Dad deserve the best? Your father didn't like ostentation. He was a simple man." Lauren's face changed. For a moment I saw something, disappointment or anger, but she quickly recovered. "You're right, Mom. Of course, you know best. I chose the simplest casket. $6,500. Plain, respectful, appropriate for Richard." Brandon said, "Excellent choice," and filled out the form. "Your signature here, please." I signed the bottom of the form, M. Whitmore, the signature I had used for 47 years. Slightly slanted to the right, the M wide, the W with sharp corners. The funeral was held 3 days later, November 12, 2019. It was a cold, rainy Portland day. The church was full, Richard's colleagues, old neighbors, friends. Michael flew in from Texas. The casket stood in the church, surrounded by flowers. Simple, plain pine casket, just right for Richard. Lauren was by my side throughout the funeral. She held my hand, gave me tissues, was constantly supportive. A good girl, I thought. I'm lucky. After the funeral, life went on, or so they say, but the house was very empty without Richard. Every dinner was for one. Every breakfast was silent. Lauren would visit twice a week. "Mom, how are you? Do you need anything?" she would say. "I'm fine, sweetheart, thank you." At the end of November, my monthly statement arrived from the bank. I wasn't working anymore, but old habits die hard. Every month I would examine my statements, check every expense. The October statement was normal. Electricity, water, groceries, medicine. Then I moved to November, and I saw it. November 12, 2019, Riverside Funeral Services, $52,000. My heart stopped. I rubbed my eyes. Maybe I was reading wrong. No. $52,000. With trembling hands, I picked up the phone. I called Riverside Funeral Services. "Riverside Funeral Services, Brandon Walsh speaking." "Mr. Walsh, this is Maureen Whitmore. We had my husband Richard Whitmore's funeral with you." "Ah, yes, Mrs. Whitmore. How can I help you?" "I'm seeing a payment of $52,000 on my bank statement, but I had chosen the $6,500 casket." A brief silence. "Let me check for a moment." I heard keyboard sounds. "Ah, yes, I see. You selected the Imperial Mahogany Elite casket." "No, I chose the simplest one. Mrs. Whitmore, We have your signature here. Change form. Dated November 9, 3 days before the funeral. An upgrade was made to Imperial Mahogany. What change? I didn't sign such a form. Wait, I'll send you a copy by email. 5 minutes later, the email arrived. I opened the PDF file. Casket change form, it said. Below was a signature. M. Whitmore. I zoomed in, and I understood. The signature looked like mine, but it wasn't. The M was too straight. Mine was slightly slanted to the right. The corners of the W were rounded. Mine were sharp. And most importantly, the signature line. My signature sits right on the line. This signature was slightly below the line. This was a forged signature. I had been trained to see these for 40 years, and now I was seeing a fake version of my own signature. But who had done it? I didn't want to know the answer, but I did. Lauren. I picked up the phone. With trembling hands I called Lauren. Mom, how are you? Lauren, Riverside Funeral Services called. $52,000 has been paid for the funeral. A brief silence. Very brief. But it was enough. What? How is that possible? A change form was signed with my signature. I supposedly bought the Imperial Mahogany casket. But I didn't sign such a form, Lauren. Mom, this must be a mistake. Maybe they mixed it up. No, Lauren. This is a forged signature. I worked at the bank for 40 years. I recognize forged signatures. A long silence. Mom, was it you, Lauren? Mom, please. Was it you? She started crying. Yes, okay, yes, but Mom, Dad deserved the best. By overpaying $50,000. Dad couldn't be in a simple casket, Mom. My father was an important man. And is this your decision? My money, my husband, my decision. I knew you wouldn't give it. You were always stingy. I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking. Tears were streaming from my eyes. My daughter, my own daughter. She had used my husband's funeral to defraud me. The next day, I met with a lawyer, James Crawford, a family law and fraud specialist. Mrs. Whitmore, he said after reviewing my files, this is very serious. Signature forgery, fraud, financial abuse. You can file criminal charges, but this is my daughter. I understand, but this is a crime against the law. If there are others, and there usually are, this could just be the beginning. What do you recommend? First, signature analysis. Verify that it's forged with a professional expert. Second, review your bank records. Are there other abnormal transactions? Third, initiate legal proceedings against Lauren. Within a week everything was ready. Dr. Catherine Morgan, a renowned signature analysis expert, presented her report. The M. Whitmore signature is forged. Pressure profile inconsistent. Speed mismatched. 12 significant differences detected with the original signature. Conclusion: 99.7% certainty of forgery. I reviewed my bank records. In the past 6 months, there were small withdrawals from accounts Lauren had accessed. $200 here, $500 there, approximately $8,000 in total. James filed a lawsuit. Charges of fraud, signature forgery, and financial abuse against Lauren Whitmore Pierce. When the court day came, we were at Portland District Court. Lauren and her lawyer on one side, me and James on the other. The judge was a serious man in his 60s, Judge Robert Chen. James presented his evidence. Original funeral contract, $6,500. Forged change form, $52,000. Bank statement, Dr. Morgan's signature analysis report. Bank account withdrawal records. Lauren's lawyer made his defense. My client loves her mother and only wanted the best. Yes, she forged the signature, but her intentions were good. James objected. Your Honor, good intentions do not legitimize stealing $52,000. This is a planned, calculated crime. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Whitmore, are you sorry for suing your daughter? I stood up. Your Honor, I worked at Pacific Northwest Bank for 47 years. I learned to trust people, but I also learned that those who abuse trust must be held accountable. Lauren is my daughter. I love her, but she disrespected me, my husband, in justice. If someone else had done this, they would be punished. Lauren should be too. The judge nodded, then turned to Lauren. Miss Pierce, do you have anything to say? Lauren stood up. Her eyes were red. I just wanted the best for my father, but I did wrong. I know. Mom is right. I'm sorry. The judge gave his verdict. Miss Lauren Pierce has been found guilty of signature forgery, fraud, and financial abuse. Sentence 18 months imprisonment, 3 years probation, $60,000 in compensation, original $52,000 in small withdrawals, punitive interest. She is also permanently barred from all of Mrs. Whitmore's financial accounts. Lauren was crying. Her lawyer was holding her shoulder. She looked at me. Mom, I turned my head. There was nothing else to do. 6 months later, Lauren was in prison. I didn't visit.
James didn't say you have to go. He just said this is your decision. Michael called from Texas. Mom, forgive Lauren. She made a mistake, but, Michael, I said calmly, Lauren defrauded me using my husband's funeral. She used my most sacred, most painful day to steal money. Some things are unforgivable, but she's your daughter, and I'm her mother, and I have to teach her the most important lesson. Your actions have consequences. Today I'm 75 years old. Lauren got out of prison 10 months ago. She sent me a letter. Mom, I know I can't expect you to forgive me. I know I lost your trust, but I want you to know that I regret it every day. You convicted me not for doing right, but for doing wrong. And you were right. In prison I taught financial literacy and fraud prevention classes. Ironic, isn't it? But others learned from my mistake. I love you. I always will. And one day, maybe you can look at me again. Lauren, I read the letter. Once, twice, 3 times. Then I put it in my purse. Forgiving and forgetting are different things. Maybe one day I'll forgive Lauren. But I won't forget, and I'll never trust her again. Because I learned at Richard's funeral. Sometimes the people closest to you inflict the deepest wounds. And sometimes justice is more important than love. I'm sharing this story because I know that elderly people experience their most vulnerable moments during funeral periods. Pain, loss, confusion, and these emotions are exploited. I'm calling out to you, elderly people. Read every document, check every signature. Don't make funeral decisions alone. Bring someone you trust. And most importantly, make funeral plans in advance, not in the moment of pain. And I'm calling out to you, children. Don't exploit your parents' weakest moments. Funerals are for saying goodbye to your loved ones, not for robbing them. Remember, a signature is not just a signature, it's a symbol of trust, and trust once broken, never repairs.
Justice is sometimes stronger than family bonds, and honor always comes before love.